I heard about this thing called the Museum of Broken Relationships, where at least one of the broken up partners left objects, formerly perhaps an object of affection, like a book or a dress or some gift that their ex-lover had given them. And they were to write a piece, a short essay or a few lines on a few pages about what this object meant to them and why they brought it for the Museum of Broken Relationships. Mine's more like a graveyard. I don't think I want to revive anything. And yet, I'll be minding my own business, maybe walking to the coffee shop, and a song will come on or a smell will waft by, which I've been told parkies can't smell, so I'm not sure what I think I'm smelling. Maybe it's a phantom smell, scent. But that scent or that musical note or the memory somehow hits you, and suddenly you're right back sitting in a room with someone who is angry that you're on your phone while she's present. Or there's somebody denying that he slept with one of your family friends and that somebody was your husband. Or there's somehow a friend who's done something to betray you. See, I don't really look at any of these relationships as any different. The presence or absence of sex doesn't seem to matter a great deal in my world. And it isn't that I'm casual, let me be clear. I'm not advocating casual of anything. In fact, what I'm saying is relationships are all equally disastrous when they're ending, even if the person's trying to pull away gently. Even if the best cup of coffee you ever had was handed to you by someone you'll never see again, as you know it. It's not that the person says something to you like, hey, you want to break up? Or, hey, I don't think I'm going to be your friend anymore. Or, you kind of suck. Nothing's communicated, but what you hear is the closing of a door. What you see is their back as they leave, and you think, that might be the last time I ever see that person again. Life's kind of like that. Ask my cat. Ask my cat about how backsides work. The cat seems to think that it's really quite a treat for you to scratch his butt. He's going to bring his butt into every possible space near you so that you know that, hey, here's my butt. There are a lot of women doing that now with the see-through tights. And I'm just going to remind you one last time, folks, tights aren't pants. Not that I care one way or the other, but I don't want to look at everybody's ass anymore. I don't want to look at the cottage cheese nor the smooth. The big or the little. The crevasse, the camel toe, or simply the saggy. I don't want to see it. Not on the street, not who I meet. Just keep it to yourself, folks. Anyway, that was the old lady coming out at me. That moralistic old fart. Maybe I'm channeling one of my grandparents. And by the way, I don't care if you run around naked, as long as there's something in you that's interesting or interested. And isn't that why relationships tend to last? You hold one another's attention. What is more precious than our attention? So as I'm walking down the street smelling Drakkar Noir, thinking about my boyfriend Joey from 1986, Joey with the hands, Joey who didn't stop when you said cut it out, Joey whose friends were in the room at least once, Joey of the toxic masculinity or whatever they call it now, the mansplainer. Who needs a Joey now? I don't know. I wouldn't even tell Joey what time it was if he asked. I told her what time it was. What movie was that? Oh yeah, Superbad. That's right. I digress. Relationships are tough. I don't say this like some flippant thing like, hey, it's a relationship. Get over it. No, it requires your time and, more importantly, your attention. It's the greatest gift of all. Your presence. Just staying in the room and listening to someone. Really listening actively. Not trying to fix them or change them or judge or try to find a space for you to insert your opinions about what they're doing. No need to control or manipulate anything. Just being with somebody. Like my cat's in the background saying, hey, what about me? Treats, Mom, meatloaf. Meatloaf! Mom! I don't know if you can hear the cat. If you can't, doesn't matter. I'm amused. And another thing, relationships have to have laughter, right? Like, what's the point if we're so damn serious? I mean, I thought I was going to have a meltdown yesterday after 2 hours with Verizon and 2 hours dropping calls with Xfinity and another 3 hours prior talking with the great IRS. Good luck with that, man. Who waits for 2 hours and 15 minutes to talk to a representative who only wants to lecture about interest rates or some sort of payment plan? Yes, you'll be spending an additional 10 grand. They don't care. I'm disabled, so there's no mercy. They are mercenary in their approach. Isn't that what they're paid to do? We could be talking to robots. At this point, all of these companies I was on hold with, it didn't feel like that was a live person until we met Jasmine. You see, there was one person, and it takes a woman apparently in this particular company. There's one person who actually fixed the connectivity issue, which is the reason you're hearing from me now and have not heard from me in a month. Apparently the Apple Genius Bar, or whatever they call it, might not have been quite genius enough, and the SIM card was not actually connecting, registered. I don't know, kind of like the boats that are trying to dock in my brain when I think of a word. Maybe they call it aphasia. I'm more like, dude, I'm old, and I don't want to remember or can't remember or have no need to remember certain things like algebra or passcodes or, wait a minute, and here's where relationships get tricky now. We've got to know each other's passcodes. What is your currency? How do I get in? Or how would you like to let me in? And if you don't let me in, that's great. You don't have to. I'll be patient if the friendship's worth it. And if it's not, that's cool too. My point is, you can't lose with relationships. You'll never be alone unless you choose that. And you may find solitude regenerative and wonderful, and isolation somehow healing for a little while. But we're not islands. We need people who need people. We're just people. How can I be a better friend is really all I need to ask. And it's pretty simple. You can just ask the person. Look them in the eye and say, what can I do to be a better friend to you? Or not. Maybe you can just feel it out. I have the best friends, especially now. Now that I know who and what and I am and how I engage with the world. I can't stand all that psychobabble of the armchair, peanut gallery, judgy, judgersons, things like, toxicity, or so negative, or I don't let negativity into my life, or oh, that person must be a blah, blah, blah. And then they try to diagnose people. Get the fuck out of here with that. They don't even know what they're talking about. And that includes me. I've said things about people that aren't true or couldn't possibly be. And what do I know? My interactions with someone might be terrible. Your interaction with them might be wonderful. Let's keep it that way. Thank you for letting me be myself. I just love that song. That was my first album. It was given to me by a friend from my elementary school years, who I'm still in touch with. By the way, she just climbed Mount Everest. Yeah, Mount Everest. She just climbed to the top. While I'm here, in my mechanical bed that props me up because I can't get up by myself sometimes, she's climbing mountains. You know what I feel about that? I feel mudita. Sympathetic joy, spontaneous joy out of the pleasures another is experiencing. Because I love her, and she's cool. I've actually known her since elementary school, and she gave me my first album. It was Sly and the Family Stone. And thank you for letting me be myself. I love you too.